Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Talk with REsimpli, where we get real about real estate, business, and everything in between. I'm your host, Shanae Jordan.
And I'm Don Carlson. All right, guys, today's guest is someone who I've been looking forward to having on for a long time. Bill Allen is a retired Navy test pilot turned real estate operator who has built one of the most respected flipping and wholesaling businesses and communities in the country. He's the owner of Seven Figure Flipping, host of the Seven Figure Flipping podcast, and leads one of the top mentoring groups in the real estate space for flippers and wholesalers. His company, Blackjack Real Estate, is based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and consistently does over 60 deals a year across the Southeast, flipping, wholesaling, and scaling the right way.
And beyond the numbers, Bill brings a level of discipline, leadership, and clarity that comes from years as a Navy test pilot, where process, accountability, and decision-making actually matter. Bill, I'm super pumped to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're stoked. So let's just hop right into it. What originally pulled you into real estate while you were still in the Navy? And what did you think the business was going to be versus what it actually is?
Well, honestly, when I started doing real estate, I didn't think it was going to be a business. So I didn't think of it that way. I really just I had a commanding officer in the Navy. He said he bought a house at every duty station and never lost money. So we move a lot in the military. So I actually wish I started earlier, but bought my first house in 2006. It was a condo in Pacific Beach. I bought it for almost $400,000. It wasn't a great time and a great decision to buy. I sold it in 2010 for half of what I bought it for. But fortunately, the government bailed me out because I would not have sustained a $200,000 loss at that point in my life. I didn't really have any money. I was kind of broke. But I learned a lot. And before I sold that house, I bought another house when I moved to Pensacola, Florida. And I loved watching the flipping TV shows. I don't know about you guys, but it was like my favorite thing to do. And so I thought it would be really easy to fix up my house. I was single. I wasn't married. I just flew all day. And then any time off, I was like, I'm just going to fix up my house and see how it goes. So I just destroyed my spare bathroom in a day. That was really fun. And
demo's the easy part.
It was so fun. It was exactly like it looked on TV. It was incredibly fun. And then I didn't think to have a dumpster or anything. So I just filled up my truck and I would take it to the dump every couple days. Lived in filth. And then 3 months it took me to build it back up again. But I learned a lot. It was fun. And then I moved out and I rented that house out. And I would say I just wanted to become financially free. And I thought it looked like $150,000 a year job, saving 50% of my salary my whole life, and then retiring with a couple $1 million and, pulling money out over time until I was dead. Right. That was what I was taught when I was a kid. And, what I realized, I tracked my net worth every month. And so when I bought that rental house, my net worth started going up. The market started going back up. I was tracked the equity each month. Principal was getting paid down. I was getting rent after I moved. And then I bought another one. And I was like, man, this real estate thing is great. I should stop investing in the stock market and start putting my money into real estate. So that's what I did. I bought a house in Maryland. It was going to be my next rental property, but my realtor said, if you flip this, fixed it up and sold it, you could make pretty good money. And she probably wanted just a second commission, right? She wanted the commission when I bought it. She wanted a commission 6 months later. But I did. I fixed it up, sold it. I made $43,000, half of my military salary at the time. And so completely game changing for me. I was living in Maryland at that time then. And then I moved to Pensacola. I tried to look for another flip before I left, but I only had 6 months left. Couldn't find one that worked. And I moved to Pensacola, bought another flip down there a few months later and made $45,000 on that one. And that was just okay, I did it once. It's not a fluke. I proved it. Let's figure out how to do more of this. And that's kind of where I was trying to build maybe some sort of business on the side, but it really just was a side hustle for I don't know, for a couple of years, probably 3 or 4 years. And it wasn't until I joined a mastermind program, got serious about it, and got a mentor. And these people were doing 100 houses a year that I really thought this could be a business, I guess, if that makes sense. I was flying active duty until I think I left active duty military when I was doing 185 or 200 houses a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was active duty, full-time W-2 employee of the government for the first 3 years of my business.
That's an incredible story.
No excuses.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
If you're
When people
listening
say
to
they don't
this,
have time, I kind of just like, I don't really have time to listen to you tell me you don't have time. Because here's some perspective. I was flying 10 or 12 hours a day, every day. I was strapped to a G suit, or I had a G suit on, strapped to an ejection seat with an oxygen mask on at 15,000 feet, doing aerobatics with a student, and then going to do landings. They're trying to kill me every day. And I have to brief, I have to go fly, I have to debrief, I have to do their paperwork, and then I have to brief another student, I have to go fly. And when the weather was good, there's really no downtime to work on your business, right? And so I also had, at that time, was newly married, had a newborn son. He was 4 months old. And I also needed to spend time with them. So I'd wake up every day at 4:30 in the morning. I'd go into the office. I'd work until 7 when my son got up, have breakfast with them, go fly all day, come home, have dinner, play with my son, do his bath time. Me and my wife would put him to bed. My wife would go on the couch and watch TV, and I would go in the office till 10:30. I did that every day for a year. Additionally, I would have to fly 1 weekend a month. So 1 weekend a month, I was gone. I was either flying in Pensacola locally, or I would go on a cross country somewhere in another city. And so couldn't answer the phone. I couldn't call sellers. I couldn't go on appointments while I was flying, that kind of stuff. Fortunately for me, if it was raining or the weather was bad, I canceled a flight. Sometimes I'd sneak in a little bit of work on the CRM, or, make a couple calls, or potentially ditch out and go on an appointment. But I had to structure the entire system to work around that problem that I had. So I don't really have time for people that say they can't do it, don't have time. They just choose to spend their time doing something else.
yeah,
We
all
don't have
about
just
priorities.
40 hours.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's all about where your priorities are. So early on, though, you were just flipping 1 or 2 houses a year, right?
Yeah, one. I'd buy a rental and flip one house. And yeah, I did all the work. I was fixed the whole house up myself. So
No GCs or anything like that.
No, I was super cheap. I'm the cheapest person on the planet. If you saw my shoes right now under this desk, they have 5 holes in them. I should get new shoes. But yeah, I wasn't willing to. I didn't understand how money and time worked at that time.
Okay.
I was just I'm willing to trade time for money. In fact, I've done presentations on this now, but when I looked at my first house, the one that I made 43 grand on, it was life-changing money. It was the biggest. I made half of my salary on the side, and I was still making my salary. So I just gave myself a 50% raise, and I was having fun. I would go over there. I did all the wiring. I rewired the whole house. If I told you the stuff I was doing, it's crazy.
You're brave.
I would hire. What's that?
You're brave. The electrical it scares me.
Well, I'm an engineer, so mechanical and electrical stuff is I love that stuff, and I love working. I love working with my hands, and I love learning new things. I was learning a whole nother skill, And there were things that I didn't do. There were things that I hired out that I had, but I do the tile. I did all kinds of stuff, and I did the math of all the time that it took me, and $43,000. I made just over $12 an hour for the amount of time I spent on that house. So when you look at it that way, that's a totally different perspective, right? But it took me probably 3 years to understand that that's the difference.
Right.
I looked at $43,000, which to me, I was willing to spend all that time to make $43,000. But when I look at it now, I didn't even have the mindset to say, dude, $12 an hour, just hire somebody, make 30 grand and do nothing, no work. The thing is at that time, I was willing to trade my time for money more than I am now. And as I got more experience, I started to learn things. So a lot of people in the beginning, when they're getting started, they're oh, I got to systemize everything, or I got to hire a bunch of people, or I got to plan for all this. It's sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty and have a little fun, figure out what you like to do and what you don't like to do. And then decide what it looks like. You got to learn along the way. You got to cut your teeth a little bit. So if you're just getting started, hey, go out and make 43 grand, be happy about it. And I don't beat myself up for it. It's not I shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, part of the journey
that I had.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I was going to ask what was the biggest lie you told yourself back then, when you were just doing 1 to 2 a year, but you pretty much answered it. It's, trading your time for money, and what your perspective is really what's going to change the level of your game at the end of the day.
That's a great question. The biggest lie that I think I was telling myself is that, as far as money goes, I remember when I was considering investing in that mastermind. And by the way, I say investing now, but at that time I was like considering spending money on it. Right? It was just totally different structure. And when I think about that, I was comparing it to like a car. It was $25,000, so I was like, I could buy an Acura for $25,000. And funny enough, like I would say the biggest lie, it was like the biggest lie that I had was $150,000 is doing well, right? Saving money for retirement is what I need to do. Like just get a job, do what you're supposed to do. Like all of the kind of like brainwashing that we get when we're going through the school system. And me thinking that was an expense. Like everything that I bought. I didn't buy a book. I never bought, even before I joined the mastermind, I paid $25,000 to join the mastermind. I had never bought a book, never bought an event ticket, never went to a conference. I would only go to like free meetups from time to time. I was trying to I was on Bigger Pockets all the time, like searching all the free stuff. I wouldn't even pay for the pro account, like none of that stuff, right? I'd never spend $1. I didn't spend $1. And I looked at everything as an expense, everything. And so I was like trying to cut my expenses. I remember talking to my wife and be like, you drink too much coffee. You got to stop going to Starbucks. It was like, I looked at every dollar on the monthly kind of budget. Like I looked at single thing on the credit card, just trying to cut it out so I could save more. And I did invest that money. I was investing that money in the stock market, but that was the biggest lie I told myself. That was like, investing is only like in the stock market
right.
or in the house. It wasn't ever in yourself. And I never looked at the investment in myself. So I think that's problematic. I think it's really hard to understand. Now when I look back, it's like, dang, that $25,000, like I made $670,000 the first year.
Change your life. Yeah, absolutely.
Holy crap. It's like a 20-time multiple. It's insane. Maybe 30 times. So
that's amazing. Shifting gears a bit. So you have a new TV show, Kids Who Flip. Where did that idea come from? And was there a particular problem that you were trying to solve with the creation of that show?
So I would love to say that the idea for the TV show came from me, but it did not. So I'd love to take credit for it. We started having these kids come to our conferences and start doing deals. They started doing real estate deals.
Which is so
real
cool.
Kids under 18 doing real estate deals. Their parents were in real estate, but it all started with like an 11-year-old girl. It was like 2017 or 2018. She came to our conference. She was the only kid there. Her mom and dad are divorced, and her dad have this thing that they do together where they work on the houses together. You know, that's their thing. And she would go to the houses, she'd make YouTube videos, and she was like really personable. So she'd go around and talk to all the adults at the conference. And when I say conference, I mean, at that time, we probably had like 500 or 600 people that were at the conference, 500 adults and one kid that's not just under 18, but is like 11 or 12 years old. And so, every year we just kind of like tracked her, and she was, so the parents in the conference, they saw the kid there and they were like, oh, this is great. I can bring my kids. So next year we had like 6 kids or something, 5, 6 kids. I can remember exactly where they were sitting. And when I looked out, from stage, we probably had 650 people there and 5 or 6 kids exactly where they were. They were sitting, taking notes, front row. It's wild. And then the next year we had like 20 kids show up. And then we put Riley and her dad on stage to talk about, she talked about the book she was reading, the mindset shifts that she had and how she was flipping houses with her dad. And that inspired like a whole generation of kids inside of our 7-figure flipping program.
That's one of my favorite parts about 7-figure flipping is the kids and how much you guys pour into them. I just think it's incredible. It's just next level.
I think what I realized is and so everybody knows, I didn't start 7-figure flipping. I bought it from my mentor. So the program that I bought for $25,000 in 2015 was 7-figure flipping. I bought it as a student, and then I became a coach and the COO, and I bought the company from my mentor in 2019. So the things that they did, Andy and Justin, the best part was like, it was never any foul language from stage. There was never any, like, nobody's out like drinking or partying. It's like a family-friendly environment.
It's very family-friendly, yeah.
Before the kids showed up, right? Before the kids even started showing up. So it allowed the parents to feel comfortable bringing their kids into that environment, and just have and it was, I would say it was family friendly before there were families there, right? It was just the moms and dads. It's just like,
just straight.
and,
We're here
and,
for business. We're not here to like get away from life.
yeah.
We're here to learn and grow and do better, which is a
Yeah,
great community.
Also like, at the time I was in the military, it's just a ton of foul language. Everybody's drinking. It's just like when I went into this place, I was like, wait a second.
This is different.
This is not what I expected when I came to a mastermind. I thought we were going to go party, and I was drinking a lot of booze at the time, that was my life, growing up. And it gave me it allowed me to be myself without any of these other, probably like vices or things everybody was like speaking my language. It was like a whole different environment, not like one that I was used to with the people that I flew with or the kids I grew up with in school. It was always just like, where are we going to go party? And I mean, they're still living in their parents' basement right now. So it was a great group to be around of people that were actually trying to build something and make an impact on the world. So the kids they did it and so I built this, we did an event just for kids and their families. And it was ages 5 to 18. We did it in my office as a test like 3 years ago, maybe 4, it was probably 4 years ago now. And it was awesome. The kids came and we broke them up, and I had some teachers that were also facilitators that came in, and we taught them money and business and real estate and finance. And they loved it, and they were just eating it up. It was so cool. And so I was like, we need to build a mastermind for kids. Like, we need to build a program specifically for kids. So I built this program called Teenage Tycoon. And so that was my kind of like idea and plan of how we were going to facilitate and do this. And then on that same track, going the same direction, was one of my mastermind members. His name's Ryan Whitefield. And Ryan Whitefield's son saw these kids on stage at Flip Hacking Live. And the year he saw it, we had 1,100 people there, and there were probably 50 kids in the audience. And he wholesaled his first house, and then he flipped another house. And then he wanted to build a YouTube channel about it and like inspire the future generation of kids. And his dad has some experience in TV. Some of his investors are, producers and directors and things. And so he came to me and was like, do you want to be the host of this show? I have this idea for the show. And I remember when he hit up my assistant to get some time on my schedule, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, no, I went down that road in 2019. There was a guy who pitched me on a show. I beat out 50 other people to be the host, and it never went anywhere. I thought it was going to change our business. I was like, I've been down that road. I'm not interested. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And so he followed up with me for like almost a year, just like pushing and pushing and pushing. And
come
eventually
on, Bill.
I was like, all right. Well, I was like, look, if you build it, if you make it a thing, I'll consider it, but I'm not going to go work on it for the next year with you.
Right.
It's like, I'll be the host, but you got to get it to a place.
You got to do all the legwork. Yeah.
Who's interested? Like, where are we going to put it? Somebody going to buy this? It's just an idea. And, but I did believe in it. And I just said, look, I'm going to keep building the kids program. You go build that thing. And then when we're ready, let's do it. And so about 2 years ago, actually probably 2.5 years ago, we partnered on it, and we started, really pushing to build the TV show. So it was Ryan's idea. In short, Ryan's idea, not my idea, but that's kind of how the whole story came for the Kids Who Flip TV show. And we filmed three houses around the country. 2 were in Tampa. 1 was in Washington State. This was about a little over a year ago. And I flew all around the country for 3 months filming this show. We travel. I mean, there's 30 people. This is not like handheld cameras and iPhones. This is, real producer, real director, real like non-scripted stuff, but really having to figure out how to flip a house in 2 weeks with these kids, buying the house and having it sit there until we were ready to film. All 3 of the families, they did their own houses. We didn't buy the house. We didn't give them the budget. They bought the house. They held the inventory. They did the project. They waited for us to be ready to film it. They made the money on the back end of it. And real projects that real kids were doing the whole thing. It was incredible. It's really fun to film. It's out on TV now. It's been out for the finale just played last week. So
that's amazing.
It's on Discovery Plus. Is that right?
It's on a Discovery Plus network. It's called Destination America right now is where it is. So if you have cable, you have to have that cable channel. You can find it on Philo. They have a 7-day free trial. You can binge watch them all and then cancel, so you don't pay $35 a month. It's supposed to go to Amazon next. However, we have a little plot twist. We are in negotiations with a big network on them potentially buying it for exclusive right in the US. And so, I put it out for people to vote, so I could probably talk about it now, but it's Angel Studios.
Oh,
So
cool.
Angel they do a lot of Christian-based films. They have a movie coming out, David. It's an app that you can download.
I just saw an advertisement for David the other day. Actually,
Angel Studios doing some amazing things in the market. It was an honor to have them be like incredibly interested. We have a couple networks that are kind of fighting over it right now, and so I hope to have an exclusive deal here before the end of the year. So it's kind of
that's pretty rad, Bill. Now something you never thought was going to come to fruition. Now you got networks fighting over it.
Well, that's
for sure. And go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I'm noticing a theme here too. You are super protective with your time because of that lesson you learned, like the $12 an hour lesson, that because you waited and didn't like pursue that like TV journey as fast, and like with some other stuff, I'm sure in your life, it's you've been bigger opportunities have come because you've been able to delegate and just like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to work on this instead. You do your thing. And
I think I do a pretty good job at that. I'd love to say I'm really great at it, but I say yes to way too much stuff. I think I'm like most people. I have trouble saying no. I need to put like systems in place and protection around me to say no. I need to like empower other people and you know what's interesting is I think look at this a lot with like influential people and not that I'm comparing myself to that, but like these higher level people. So I work with a guy named Russell Brunson regularly, and the thing is when Russell's like up here, right? And so I want everybody to think that he says yes to everything, and then I'm the guy that says no to everything. And so when I think about like the president, and take it or leave it, like just pick a president that you love. Like it doesn't matter if you love the president now or hate the president now. Pick a president that you loved. The president should always say yes. Like the president should always want to do something with you. Like you should feel like the president never says no. It's like, I definitely think that we should do something. And then somebody else should come in and be able to protect the president and the president's time. It's usually chief of staff. It's all the different people around him.
Gatekeepers, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that's the hard part, is because, I was talking to my office manager yesterday, and we were in a lease negotiation with the current tenant of our space here. I have a 16,000 square foot office that gets leased out we work together. And she's like, "You're such a pushover." And I was like, "I know, you are supposed to protect me. Like I say yes, you say no." And like, we have to figure that out. And I said, I'm strategically giving and taking in that meeting. You might have looked like a pushover, but I have big picture, long-term plans for this relationship. Eventually I want them to buy the building. And so I want them to get some yeses out of this meeting and not just all no's. So anyway, I say that because I think when you become more successful, there's opportunities everywhere and everybody wants a piece of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to figure out, Don, like how to protect yourself. And so I know that I'm a yes man. So like if you get me cornered at an event and you ask me to do something, I'm going to say yes. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, we should definitely do that. Yeah. Because I don't like to let people down. I want to do all the stuff, but I can't do it. And I also won't say no. So I have to figure out how to put people in place.
That's great advice. Going back to the kids, I'm dying to know that, like, so you're obviously, these kids are doing real deals. Is there anything that they pick up faster than like what adults pick up when they're learning how to do deals? Everything.
They pick up everything faster than you as an adult. And here's why. And here's why I love working with the kids, actually. The other piece is, though, they're also not, they also don't have like a break, really. So there is some downsides and potential negatives to it, right? But the upside is they're not jaded from the past. They have not been like beaten down enough by life to think that they can't do something. And so most of you, all you see is risk and fear and break. And I look at fear and risk. Risk is really the problem of why people don't start. It's not really fear. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm scared." Like, what are you scared of? You're not going to die. You might lose a couple bucks. What's the problem? So it's risk. There's a risk profile that we have, and it's based on our historic past and wounds and challenges and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And as you get older, you take all of these past wounds, like a wound, if it's like an unhealed source of continuing pain, it's things that happened to you in the past. And you're pulling that now into like identity to protect your protect you from pain. And the kids don't have that. The kids don't have like a full blown identity yet, and reasons and things that they're not going to do something. They just say yes and do it. Like, it's awesome. It's really
They don't
cool.
need the protection in place to say no yet.
Faith like a child is like 100% like applicable in this.
That's it. And so they will pick up everything faster, and they don't question stuff. They just do it. And that's why I love working with them. And I'll bring somebody on and we're talking about like crypto or something, and we're teaching them, because every Thursday night in Teenage Tycoon, we do a coaching call. We bring on a coach. We've done e-com, we've done marketing, we've done salespeople. We've had the authors of the books that they're reading come in. We've had crypto, we've had stock market, we've had all kinds of stuff. Like we had e-com woman come in, Allison Prince. She's amazing. And she was teaching them e-com. By the way, you have to pay Allison Prince a lot of money to come on a Zoom call. And so when I say, can you come on and talk to my kids? And she's my friend, she says yes. So it's really cool. And so she's telling them exactly how to buy stuff and then sell it on eBay and all these other sites and stuff. And so the kids just like buy a bunch of stuff from China and then bring it in, and then they start selling it. And they're not like, oh, but well, what about this? Or how much should I buy? Or what? They just do it.
It doesn't matter.
So
just do it.
I love that. I've seen it in the houses. We just did this challenge edition show. So our next season is a challenge where we put 2 shells of like tiny homes on my farm, and the kids had to fully build it, furnish it, get it all done and ready to rent out as an Airbnb head to head. And I was just amazed by what they did. They did it all in 7 days. They did everything in 7 days.
That's crazy.
And they picked all the product. They picked the design. The houses look beautiful. Like I could not have done better myself. And these are 3 kids. Only two of them really had experience, the team captains. And then the middle ones, like their parents were in real estate, but this is their first deal they ever did. And then the other 2 were like 14-year-old novices that had never done a real estate deal ever. And it's just amazing to watch this happen in 2 weeks. And the amount of growth that happens inside of that was incredible. So to answer your question in short, everything. They do everything.
Everything. That doesn't really, I mean, I'm a mom to 2. That doesn't necessarily really surprise me. I mean, kids are so sponge-like. I mean, you hear that thrown around from adults all the time. Oh, I'm a sponge, I'm a sponge, I'm a sponge. But kids, I think, have the corner market on that. So
yeah, the only thing that I think is lacking a little bit is some of their, like, if you think about it, it's their experience bucket, right? So
Sure.
it's their situational awareness, which is, perception matching reality. And so a lot of times they could be impressionable. So with the wrong advice or the wrong direction, they could go the wrong way very easily also. So making sure that you're protected, like that's where I think we do a good job of protecting, like who comes into the community to teach them and train them, what books they're reading, what we're teaching, what we're talking about, those kind of things. Like the actual strategy that we're giving them and the advice that we're giving them and the direction we're pointing them. So that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you also do amazing at capital raising. And I think Don's got some really great questions surrounding all of that good stuff.
Yeah,
so.
No, absolutely. I'm super stoked to talk about that. Also, I did want to bring up too, again, I love hearing you talk, man. There's a lot of observations that I'm trying to pick up here. And one of them, a common theme too, is like the power of association. You even said that for like 100, like, once you got around a group of people doing 100 deals, like same thing with me. It was like, oh, like I just want to do like a deal a month. Like I'm happy with that. Then it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing like 100, 120. Like I want to grow, but it's like, wow, that's possible. Like, so, I mean, I'd love to hear your, just want to make that observation to even from the mastermind, like versus the military, like just a different way of life and habits have been changed. In your opinion, like how does someone like change that power of association if they're trying to make a shift?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to point out just because somebody's doing like 100 deals or, 20 a month or anything like what you said, doesn't mean that you have to do it. Okay. So I got in that room, and what it made me realize is there's a next level to this stuff. And I've seen people go completely broke trying to scale up a business the wrong way, too fast, those kind of things, or building something that turns into a prison for them. They don't want 20 or 30 employees. They liked it better when they were doing 12 or 15 or 20 deals a year and it was just them. So just like build your thing, but take some things from everybody, right? And so I think that's what hurts the mastermind concept a little bit, is people go in and they try to like just run really fast. Or I call it so Andy McFarlane was my mentor primarily. He was the guy who would coach me one-on-one when I got started in 2015. And so I always say, like, you don't go to zero to Andy overnight. Andy was doing like a couple hundred deals a year, doing like 3.5 million in 3 different markets. And so if I tried to go from 1 deal a year to Andy's business in a year, I would have gone broke. I'd be hiring 7 people at a time, trying to train them all and things like that. So I scaled very responsibly. Like, I let the revenue that was coming in pay for the next person or the next system or whatever I put in place next. So I just sat in all the seats, and then I would like hire out 1 seat at a time as we grew and as demand changed. So that's one thing that I would share with anybody who's listening, because it's very easy to get ahead of your skis and get way behind, and you're spending as much as you're making, but you're talking about how many deals you're doing. So just be careful with that and build what you want and build your own definition of freedom. And sometimes you don't know what it is, so it'll take some time when you get in these worlds. But you mentioned, like, what could you do if you want to change kind of where you're at? My advice, number one, would potentially be to leave, to literally leave where you are right now. And I don't know what your life is like or who you're around, but it's really hard. If I was like still living in Columbia, Maryland, hanging out with my same high school friends, who I love, by the way, I love them. I love hanging out with them. They're a lot of fun. We don't have as much in common as we used to, but I could get around them and it'll be like nothing's ever changed. But I would not have done what I've done right now if I was still there, because I would be lulled into this, there's an ordinary world and a supernatural world in this hero's journey concept. The ordinary world is like all the people that say, why are you doing that? Like, what, that's risky. Like, you're gonna start your own business, just go get a job. It could be your parents, could be your aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, all the people that are in your ordinary world. But those people love you regardless of what you do. So you'd still need that. And then the supernatural world is the place that you go and you're like, oh my gosh, like everybody here gets me. It's like when you go to one of these meetups or
I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Like, there's other people that think like me and they think bigger than me. I actually have to leave the mastermind, the supernatural world, go home and have my wife hand me a baby with a crappy diaper and say, change this, big time speaker on stage. and you have to be like, you have to have a little of both, right? And my friend calls this left hand, right hand. You need to have these people in your left hand. You need to have these people in your right hand. So I'd say, like, you could physically leave. You could actually like move somewhere else and start over. That's one option. I don't know if it's reasonable for everyone that's listening, but if you have an opportunity, take it and go. And then the second one is you might actually have to like fraternity this thing and actually like buy your way in, like buy your friends, and that's what I did. I paid to be in a place that seemed like it had my values, the kind of character of people that I was looking for. I didn't know what to expect, but I just wanted to be around different people that would push me and light me up and unlock the potential that was inside of me that no one else could see other than me. Like, I would go to the meetups, like the local REIA meetings, and like the person in there is doing like 10 or 12 deals. And I'm like, I could do that. And so you could get lulled into being the biggest fish in the room if you wanted to.
Big fish,
but
small pond.
I always want to be the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who's like has the ability to learn the most and grow the most. And so that's always what I didn't know that I needed that until I got it. And so most people are like unwilling to invest in themselves. And the only reason you should be unwilling to invest in yourself to grow is if you don't believe in yourself.
That's
so
great.
That was the realization that I had when I believed in myself. Like, I remember my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm thinking about paying $25,000 to go to this mastermind. He's like, what's a mastermind? I was like, oh, there's these guys that like are sharing what they're doing. He's like, well, how much money did you make on your last house? I was like, 45 grand. And he's like, and how many houses are these guys doing? I was like 100 or more. And he's like, do you think they could help you do one more house? And I was like, yeah, I want to do 12 next year. So if they can't help me do one more house, like, yeah, of course, one more house for sure. But I want to do 12. And he's like, well, if they helped you do one more house, you'd make 45 grand. So would you pay 25 grand to make 45? And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The math works. And he's like, well, it sounds like you believe in them. It sounds like you believe that they can do it and help you, but it sounds like you don't believe in yourself. And right when he said that, I remember like I was like starting to get heated. I was getting pissed off. I was like, what are you talking about, man? I try to win everything that I play. I had been successful in the past. And I was like, all right, send the money. And I just sent the money right after that phone call. So yeah, I'd say, leave, get around other people, pick the people, like the people that you're surrounding yourself with are definitely who you're going to become.
Yep.
And so be intentional about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I did that. I even just moving to like a neighboring town. Like I used to live in Simi Valley, California, great little suburb of LA, family friendly, but like there is like a lulling into a sense of like complacency or just comfortability. And I moved 45 minutes away to Ventura by the beach, and it was fantastic. It was just a disconnect. And then Hawaii. And then I'm even thinking we're going to be moving like towards like Thousand Oaks, Calabasas area, like to get around like even like more faster, like people. So that's a great tip. And one that like, again, believing in yourself and moving into that. I think that's a great little nugget. You don't have to go like across the country, just like down the road.
Yeah. Thousand Oaks, great place. That's where I grew up as a kid.
Oh, amazing. Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, in your old backyard. But kind of changing the gears to some like applicable like stuff that our listeners can use in their business that are wholesaling and flipping. You are a great private capital raiser, and super excited to talk about that. Taking it to basics though, like where does your private money actually come from, and what systems you have in place to consistently generate new capital relationships?
Yeah. First of all, private money is needed for any single person in the real estate business, period. I don't care if you're a wholesaler, flipper, the short-term rentals, long-term rentals, mid-term rentals, owner finance person, like apartments, it doesn't matter. Commercial, private money is the backbone of everything that you do. So it's like leads, money, it's, leads and negotiation money and probably contractor relationships are actually like, those are the three problems pretty much everybody has. And so money, where does my money come from? In the beginning, so if you're just getting started, it kind of depends. If you're just getting started, you have a track record, there's kind of some things. If you're just getting started, what I would say is you have to go to people who already trust you. And so, and this doesn't just have to be like family members, but it's like anybody that you have that already has trust in you, because they don't have trust in the product or your ability to do that product yet, right? So if you think about it, you don't have a track record of like, oh, I've done 1,000 houses, and you can't lean on any of that, right? And so, but what you can lean on is past track record of success in other areas of your life. And so what you want to do is you want to think about like other areas of your life where you had past success. And then if those people have seen that and they trust you in doing that, then they will be willing to project that into this new opportunity and know that you're going to be successful in this new opportunity because you've been successful in your past. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll give you some examples. I was in the military. I was a Navy pilot. And so a lot of my early investors were pilots with me. They flew with me. Like they flew in the right seat while I was in the left seat signing for the aircraft, and they trusted me with their lives because I was flying them around and making decisions in the aircraft. And so like one of my commanding officers was one of my early investors. He still probably has like $1 million with me invested in all kinds of different stuff. And we went to, when I was a student in grad school, he was a test pilot when I was a grad school student as an 01, he was an 03. It's a, military rank. So he was, 4 or 5 years ahead of me, and saw me semi-successful there. Right. We had a lot of fun in grad school, but then after that, I was in a squadron together, and he was my commanding officer, and I was a department head there. And so he also saw me be successful and work for him. And so he knew that as I started flipping houses, I would probably be successful and he'd make a good return on his money. So some of it was family, some of it was people like that. So what I do is I try to look, when I teach a system, it's about raising money. It's like, go back into your buckets. I teach this bucket creation. So think about your life in buckets. So I go back to like growing up as a kid. Like, who did I know? Not just my friends, but what about their parents? Or, people that knew me that we had a good relationship then. What about, so maybe that's high school. Like I went to 2 different high schools. So I've got Centennial High School and I've got River Hill High School. And I just start listing out people. And then I'm like, who else was around? This person, this person, this person. I wonder what they're up to. And people I had relationships with. And then I went to Georgia Tech. And then, so I list out Georgia Tech people. And then at Georgia Tech, I was in a fraternity. I played soccer and I was in Navy ROTC. So those are buckets. I start listing those people. And then after that, I went to grad school at the Air Force Institute of Technology, and there were 13 other ensigns with me there. And so I write down all of their names, anybody, and maybe, I don't know, if I didn't get along with somebody, I'm probably not putting them on the list, right? So I'm listing them out. And then after that, I went to Pensacola, and I was in flight school. Then I went to Corpus Christi, Texas. Then I went back to Pensacola. Then I went to San Diego. I was in HSC 3. I was in HSC 23. And I just start listing out all the different people that were in my squadron. Now I have an actual map of other people that I have trust. And then the next step, is it okay if I just go through a process?
Yeah, absolutely.
I realize I'm like going way further than just answering your question. But now I have this list of people that I have built trust with. And so what I don't do is I don't send my friend Scott a text message saying, hey, Scott, I got this deal. Do you want to invest with me? Like, it's just that process. I don't like doing that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I like the no rejection method. What I do is I send a message to Scott. I'm like, hey, Scott, dude, it has been like 10 years since we spoke. I just wanted to check in on you. I noticed on Facebook that you were doing X, Y, and Z. Just want to say, what's up, man? How are you doing? Give me an update. And he tells me about what's going on. We do a little catch up on text. I don't like to talk on the phone at all. So I try to do everything automated, text message, email, stuff like that. And he tells me what's going on. And what is he going to say when I say, what's going on with you? And he tells me everything that's going on with you. He's going to say,
what are you up to, Bill?
Yeah,
exactly. What's going on with you?
Because he's
polite. I'll say, oh man. And so my response to that is very strategic and very directional. And so I say, oh yeah, man, it sounds like you're doing some awesome things. I don't know if you know this, but I got into real estate recently. Like I'm still flying at the time, when I was raising money, I was still flying, but I got into real estate recently and I've been flipping houses. And if you're brand new, I would say something like, man, I got in this new industry of real estate and I'm going to start flipping houses. The thing I'm most excited about is that I can put my friends' money to work passively and they make an amazing return. And if you have made money for somebody, I don't care if it's a hard money lender, a bank, or anybody, you say, my favorite part of flipping houses is I've been able to pay my friends a bunch of money. And I just leave it at that. Just boom, drop that and just see what they say. And sometimes he's like, oh, that's really cool. And that's it. And we move on. Or sometimes he's like, who have you made money for? Like, what does that look like? Like, oh, that's interesting. And then he's like, oh, and so then if they're at all interested at the end of the conversation, usually I say, hey, if you know anybody who might be interested in investing in a deal with me, would you let me know? Okay. So this is like I've probably raised $100 million with this line right here. And it's not, hey, Scotty.
I love that line, how it's structured too.
Oh,
I can see it.
and so there's three options. So if I say it's very specific, it's very targeted. This is like if you ever come to my 5-day money raising challenge, this is the thing I'm going to hook you with on day 5 at the end, that line right there. So I just gave it away. So, but it says, if you know anybody who might be interested, would you let me know? And I got 3 options then. He does not feel like I'm asking him for money. I never ask anybody for money. I only provide an opportunity for people. I also make the opportunity seem really, really good, which it is. And I believe that it is. And I also believe that I can help people. And I believe that everybody should give me money on the planet so I can go invest it. And I shouldn't say give me money. Everybody should invest with me on the planet or, invest in real estate, because I believe that that's the method to becoming financially free, whether you're active or passive, it doesn't matter. And so he could say one of 3 things. One is, well, I'm interested, which is usually what I get. I'd say, 8 times out of 10 is if they have money, they have ability to invest, they're interested, right? And then it might say, what would that look like? And then the second one is, I actually do know somebody who might be interested in that, right? So, okay, those are both good, right? Mm-hmm. Or number 3, he says, I will let you know. That's usually, I'm not interested and I don't know anybody who's interested, but I want to be nice, right? Yep. And so, but none of those is no, and none of those is 100% yes.
And it just doesn't come across as like pushy either. Like, I mean, I've been approached by lots of high school friends who are like, hey, do you want to invest in a business opportunity? Like,
okay, wait a second. When they say that, let's just say you have the utmost amount of trust with this person. They're your best friend from high school. and they have been successful in the past. Like, are you 100% all in when somebody asks you even that? How does that make you feel?
If it's come across as that, it's like, well, what is it? Because like there's like social media for like MLM, like multi-level marketing, like that was a big thing too. But how you are approaching that question at the end, that separates it and takes the pressure off too, which I love.
Yeah, if somebody asks me, it's like, hey, I got this deal. Do you want to take a look at it? Immediately, I'm like, it's like another person coming at me for money. So just think about people that have money. Mm-hmm. People that have money get hit all the time by people who are like panhandling, thinking that they're like helping or benefiting them. Like, look, I do not need help making money at this time in my life. Okay, I do not need help making money. I can make money, and the people with money, they probably have some of their own areas. So you have. So as you get further, you want to be unassuming. You just want to be conversational. You want to lay out. I'm not even telling them how much they're going to make. I just tell them what I'm excited. I'm excited about helping other people. And if that aligns with his belief system, which is like, oh, like I think we could partner here somehow. I call my investors financial partners. Like, we are partnered in their retirement account, in their cash account. Like, my job is to be the partner. That's the active partner that's making them money, that's building a successful business. So if they feel like that, then we can take it a step further. And if they ask me, then the next like deep process that I have that I think is actually incredible and it's like totally game changing for how I raise money is when they say, well, what does that look like? I don't go into a pitch. And that's the second place where you break people is you're like, oh, let me send over my pitch deck. That's a good way to never hear from them again.
Salesy. Yep.
Yeah. When I ask people about, like, people are like, oh, Bill, what does your pitch deck look like? I'm like, okay, do you have a pitch deck? Because I don't have a pitch deck. So when you send over your pitch deck, how many people that you send your pitch deck to actually invest with you? And most people are like, I never. Yeah, because they're blowing you off. They're like, oh yeah, send me some information about it. I'll take a look. Like, that's a blow off.
Gone forever.
Like, yeah. The only time I actually build, I will caveat the fact that when we do a multifamily raise for
there's levels to it. Like
this is it. Like, there's an offering. There's an actual SEC offering. Mm-hmm. So there's not like a negotiation of what you get. It's like, this is what you get. So that's one. And then secondly, if I'm going to a bank, I'll probably build in some historics of, like, when I go to a bank, the bank is going to give me the terms that they have, or a hard money lender. So maybe some of those, but private money, I've never sent a pitch deck in my life, and I've raised probably over $150 million at this point. So it's don't send the pitch deck.
Just a couple of bucks. Just a couple of bucks.
Just a few
million.
dollars, a few shekels.
Well, I'll put the asterisk below that, which, I mean, as I count this money up on my deals, if somebody invests with me the same money 4 or 5 times over, I'm counting it in there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So just so everybody's clear, when they hit me on social media and all my ads and everything, it's like, it's not, I'm counting every single, just $1 counted one time. So, and I have a lot of people that return with me, but yeah, it's a lot of apartments, a lot of houses, a lot of flips, it's, over 10 years of doing this. So,
yeah. And that process, clip it, Xbox, clip that, please. And we'll for sure. That's amazing. So I would say, like, how do you actually, you gave the system, but like making it like predictable instead of random. Like, if you run out of your sphere bucket, like what's the next step?
Yeah. I get this question next all the time. It's like, oh, like, when do I start running ads and things like that? And like, hey, I've tried everything. Like, my friends don't have money. First of all, I don't believe that that's true. Like, I still do not believe that even after all of what I've done, every single person that I know knows that they can invest with me. So here's the next like soundbite for you. If everyone that you know doesn't know that they can invest with you, you haven't gone far enough. So I'll say that one more time. Yeah. If everybody that you know doesn't know that they can invest with you, you got a lot more work to do. So everybody that you know, everybody on your phone, everybody on your social media, everybody that goes to Thanksgiving and Christmas with you and all these things. And it's not like you going up to them and being like, you can invest in me, you can invest in me, you can invest in me. But what I mean by is, have you built a brand or are talking regularly about the fact that people can invest money with you to make a great return? And so the answer is always no. Like, you have not gone far enough. Like, you have a massive influence across people who are in your neighborhood or in your church or in your kid's school, like all of these things, right? And you're trying to go out to like cold relationships, or like I go hang out with people you're joining a country club and you're thinking that the person you play golf with is going to invest with you. Like, you have to build these kind of relationships if you want private money. Like, that's the game, right? There's lots of ways to do that. And and my recommendation, so my biggest tip is like, okay, if you don't play golf, don't go join a country club that plays golf. Okay. If you don't like to like do whatever, like if you don't love cars or watches or these like, don't go to the car club to try to get people to invest with you. Like, if you love cars, go join a car club. Like, I'm in a car club in Franklin. I love cars. And so I'll go over there, and I mean, people in our car clubs that drive GT3 RSs just happen to have some money. So, but I'm not going there like as a vulture to go suck their money out of their pocket. I'm going to go meet them. I'm going to go talk to them. I'm going to build a relationship. It's going to take a long time, but you have to dig your well before you're thirsty. So Don, what you're asking me is like, how do you get money in the last second? Well, private money, like real true private money, just might not be your fix then.
Yeah.
Right. It might need to be hard money. You have to actually build your bench, build your Rolodex. And the way you do that is getting started right now. Like, you don't wait till you get a deal to start raising money.
Absolutely.
You raise money now, like always. ABRM, always be raising money. Okay. ABRM, always be raising money. So that's my advice. And there's not a single person that I know that I feel like has gone deep enough in their network, their contacts, their people. Like, you could go down through every single person in your phone and send that message that I told you to send. How long would that take you to do? I think I have 4,000 contacts.
I was going to say, for me, it'd take a really long time.
Take you like years to do it.
Yeah.
And people just aren't willing to do that. And I'm not asking anybody for money. I'm literally just like, I think about it like, I think it was like Swingers or one of these movies, old like comedy movies that I love.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to stand at the bar and put out the vibe. That's what you got to do. You got to stand at the bar and put out the vibe all the time.
Because while you're working on the Sphere stuff too, like, you're also doing the power of association thing, getting around bigger, better people to garner like authentic relationships too. Cause like, if you go about it like a vulture, like, I need to join this country club to get money, it's not going to work. Cause like, wealthy people can
see
sniff
right
out
through that
BS.
shit.
Like,
Yep, exactly.
But you're just if you like to play golf, and like, if I like to play golf,
I love golf.
I would join the Governor's Club in Brentwood. I like to play golf. I used to like to play golf. I don't like to spend 5 hours in a golf cart playing golf anymore. It's just not my thing. And I like to play pickleball. I love to play pickleball. You know who's got money? These old retired dudes that are playing pickleball. Like, they have money. So you just go play pickleball if you want to play pickleball. Just go 3, 4, 5 days a week. Go to one of the clubs where you got to pay a membership and just get to know them. And then they say, oh, what do you do? Don't say, I'm a real estate investor. Don't say that. That's dumb. They're like, oh, cool. That doesn't help them. They have no idea what you do. Like, you got to be really strategic about what you say.
How would you reframe that? Like,
there's lots. It depends on what you want. If you want money. So like, when I used to be looking for deals all the time. So like, so I used to say I'm a real estate day trader. And people are like,
catchy.
Yeah. So when you think about marketing is just getting people to be more curious.
Yep.
And ask the next question. So like, a hook in marketing, like the front 3 seconds of any video or anything, it's just designed for somebody to watch the next 3 seconds, right? And then the next 3 seconds, you got to get them to the next 3 seconds. And so it's just designed to get them to get curious. And that some people are like, I just try to have a pattern interrupt. So you say you're an investor, and I say I'm a real estate day trader. They're like, I know what a day trader is, but like, what's a real estate day trader? I'm like, oh, I like buy and sell a house every day, pretty much. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, we did 200 houses last year, so we pretty much maybe like one every 2 days. And like, how do you do that? Well, funny you should ask. Like, well, I mean, the only way that I can do it is if I have like tons of money from friends, family, warm network, things like that, where I can make them a great return, and they constantly like finance my projects. And then I got great systems. I was an engineer. I did this, that, or the other. And so I usually, it just kind of depends on where I am. If I go to a REIA meeting, I wouldn't say that. You know,
Right.
if I go to a REIA meeting, I don't know, I'd be looking for some sort of outcome. I might, if I'm looking for buyers for my buyers list, if I'm a wholesaler, I'd say something like, oh, I find landlords and flippers the most amazing deals in Pensacola, Florida. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm a volume wholesaler. We do like 55% of the cash transactions in Pensacola. They're like, you do? Like, yeah. Are you not on my list? They're like, no. And so like whatever the outcome is, I'm like redefining the front end. But again, before I walk in the door, I want to say, I'm not a natural networker. And so what I try to do is when somebody asks me something, I'm always thinking about like what room I'm going to be in, who's the avatar in there, what are they looking for, what am I looking for in the relationship, and I'm removing myself from the outcome, which is really important when you're raising money. Okay, remove yourself from the outcome and just put some sort of marketing thing in front of them, and you want them to say, "Tell me more."
One thing I think I'm hearing you say, Bill, is, like when you talk about like if you like to play golf, then go play golf. If you like to play pickleball, go play pickleball, or whatever the situation may be. What you're really telling people is to be their authentic self.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But
that makes
being
a big
intentional.
difference. Yeah, that makes a big difference, especially if you're looking for private money. I mean,
one of the best. So when I was getting started in this, there wasn't anybody that I knew that was raising a lot of money. It just wasn't a thing. In 2015, I knew that this was going to be my thing. I also love money. I love talking about money. I love talking about finance. I love learning about retirement accounts and self-directed IRAs and solo 401ks and mega Roths and IRA conversions and checkbook IRAs. And I mean, you name it. Like I love taxes. I love learning about taxes, saving on my taxes, teaching other people how to save money on taxes. Like I love learning new things. I'm a voracious learner and I love money. Like ever since I was a kid, I was addicted to like turning $1 into $2. Like just, I flipped candy when I was a kid and almost got kicked out of middle school. And so like, this is kind of like, I've always just loved that. Right. And even now, like, I mean, I'll flip whatever, I love it. And so when I think about that, I'm like, all right, I want to become the money guy. I like talking about money. And so inside of that, in 2015, I had no idea anybody who was like doing this. This wasn't like a thing that I was getting taught. Justin and Andy didn't really teach it, but I found this book, and what you said just kind of like triggered the thought. I need to talk about who my like pseudo mentor was at that time in 2015, like 10 years ago, that I think the foundation of what I learned and have taught and been successful has come from her. But there's a book called Getting the Money. And it's a woman, Susan Lassiter-Lyons. Susan came in and talked at my event in 2020. We did our virtual Flip Hacking Live. And she is like, she's not all over the internet talking about raising capital and stuff. But in this book, she talks about going to this Mexican restaurant in her sandals, drinking a margarita, meeting her potential private money lender. And she teaches about like, what does she say? Like, oh, you are the prize. This is the quote. I'm 99% sure it came from this book. You are the prize. I hear it sometimes, but you're the prize. Like, you're not there pitching them. Like, they should be pitching you on why they should work with you.
Yeah.
And most of the people, when they're like brand new and they've never done a house, they can't see how this is possible. It's like, no, like the money is such a small piece of what's being provided. The finding the deal, the negotiating the deal, the like managing the project, renovating the house, selling the house, like all of that stuff. That's the 90% that should make all the money. The 10% of the money. It's like
the money's important to the investor, but like all the other pieces that the investor brings to the money owner, essentially. Yeah. Like that's big mindset.
But she basically in that book talks about her being her authentic self, which gave me the permission to say, all right, I'm going to execute kind of the plan and the structure that like some of those things. And then, over time, obviously a lot of my scripting and structure and all that stuff is like been like, it's like the cherry on top or the whipped cream or the sprinkles and stuff. But she gave me the foundation of that. And what's interesting is like, I don't know. I never tried to like say, oh, I came up with all this stuff. Like there's no like original snowflakes out there, right? It's all repurposed. But she was a huge impact in me, and I hope she knows that. Like, we've only spent a little bit of time together, never even met in person together, but she has been a major impact. And what I always want her to know is that I've brought thousands of people through my 500K challenge and my 5-day challenge that we have right now, the Flip Funding Challenge. Now we've had, I don't know, probably a couple thousand people in 2025 go through that Flip Funding Challenge. And most of it is like the foundation built from her. So, but she was the one that I remember the margarita at the Mexican restaurant and the sandals. And I'm like, that's my girl. Like that's what I want to do. I'm going to wear a hoodie. I'm going to drive up in whatever car I happen to be driving at the day. And I'm not doing something different than I would normally do just to try to get your money or convince you that you should work with me. No,
no that is,
I'm going to win you over, but just by being myself. And if we don't get along, by the way, I'm also not going to take your money to invest in my projects if I don't like you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's not going to work either.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And we could talk about private money. I mean, you have a 5-day course and like tons of content in your actual like 7-figure mastermind about this. Where can users get more information about private money? Because again, we have a limited time on the podcast, but
yeah. I would say come to the challenge. We've mapped out the next 4 months of 2026. And I think if you go to 7figureflipping.com/Bill, so the number 7figureflipping, so number 7figureflipping.com/Bill, that should direct to my money raising challenge all the time. So that's I think that's my link that the social media team uses for my organic, like Instagram. But you can always just message me on Instagram. It's my name, Bill Allen, or Facebook. I can send you a link. Yeah.
Sweet. I do have one more question about like system processes. I want to take it back though, like more like a legacy question, especially like talking about the Teenage Tycoon and what you're doing there. Like we live in a country, and you talked about it earlier, in a time where it seems like going to college, getting a corporate job, working your way up and retiring at 65, it doesn't work as well as it used to. I have a 6-month-old son who I want to have him stand on my shoulders to set him up for success. So for all the parents of young kids out there that's listening to this, what would you recommend like a new success path should be for these young kids when they hit their college years or even before that? And how can we help prepare them?
Well, the first thing I would say is if you got a 6-month-old, I would, how old are you, Don?
I am 31.
Okay. First of all, if you don't have a bankable life insurance policy, I would 100% do that. I would. So I did that. I started that when I was like 37, and I got policies on all my kids. So my kids have $1 million policy. I've got a lot of life insurance on myself. Don't get any crazy thoughts. But I have a lot of life insurance on myself and my wife, and we use that to bank. But I don't really want to be. That's the thing that I do for my family to build a massive amount of worth when I pass, and then everything else is gravy. So I would 100% do that because it's super cheap when the kids are young, and I don't care if you don't believe in it. Just trust me that it's with the right person. It's absolutely one of the best vehicles to compound your money and force you to put cash in, especially for your kids. My kids are going to borrow for their car. They'll borrow their own money for their car. They'll borrow their own money for their down payment on the house, borrow their own money for college, pay themselves back. We don't have to go to Wells Fargo or Bank of America or any of these crooks to borrow money from. We borrow money from ourselves. And so I think we just can build a financial fortress that way. So that's one thing. I don't really push that inside Teenage Tycoon. I probably should a little bit more. But just when you said you had a 6-month-old, that's what I would say would be a big.
I talked to the Bulletproof Wealth. That guy.
Oh yeah, Tom Lonnie.
Yeah, Tom. I talked to Tom, so we're working through some stuff. That was one of the biggest takeaways from the event.
Would 100% do that. He's amazing. There's a lot of sharks in that world. Find somebody who really is not just trying to get a huge rip of a commission, but is actually going to take care of you. Tom Lonnie is one, probably one of the. He's one of the only ones. Let me just say that he's the guy that I point to. I don't get commission from Tom. I don't get anything from Tom. A lot of these guys are paying huge affiliate referrals to people, and I just want my people taken care of. So he's amazing. And if you don't have a lot of cash, you can structure it on a term to whole life conversion. And so I'm a big proponent of that. I think it's great, especially for the legacy of our kids. Not like 529s. I wouldn't do that stuff. Coverdales. I would just put my money there. So that's one thing. And then to set our kids up for success, I would say the same thing that we're trying to do. Like get them around the right role models. Okay. So here's the problem with our kids: is you can't be a prophet in your hometown. Okay.
Yep.
So my kids, I would love to think, so my kids are watching me 100%. They're watching me. They're watching what I do. They're watching what I say. They're watching how I treat them. They're watching how I treat their mom. They're watching how I carry myself. They're watching how I get upset, or if I curse, or, all these things, or if I'm drinking. They're watching all of it. They're watching all of it. Okay. So they're sponges. However, they will buck the system with their parents. So if I tell my kids something, they are not going to listen to me like if somebody else tells them something.
That's so true.
It's really hard to accept, right? But the reason why I built Teenage Tycoon, I built it for my kids, but my kids don't want to show up. Okay? My kids don't want to show up, and it's devastating to me. But what I found, what's really exciting, is number one, they're observing and watching in the background. Like they might get pissed off that I bring them to the events, or I force them to come on sometimes and things like that. But they'll sit behind the camera and they're listening. Even though they're pretending not to, they're listening and paying attention. They just don't want to show me that they are. But they're the last kids to get in line. But the other kids' parents are almost as capable, if not more capable sometimes, of teaching the material than me. But their kids are listening to me and they're not listening to them on the surface.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to anybody who wants to set their kids up for success is find a place and be very intentional with the people that are pouring into your kids. So whose house are they sleeping over? What are those parents like?
Yep.
How does that husband treat his wife? What are they doing? What are they drinking? What are they saying? What are they letting them watch? Are they like all of that stuff? Like, be really intentional about the role models that your kids see, especially in the early years. Like what you present in front of them, what they see is who they're going to become. So that's the biggest piece of advice I can give to you. Like, look, if my kids want to go to college, they go to college. If my kids don't want to go to college, they better have a plan, because if they don't want to go to college, that's fine. If they want to go to college, they're paying for it. If they don't want to go to college, that's fine, but they have to have a plan and a purpose, and they're not just going to go like hang out and
backpack Europe,
get their girlfriend pregnant and play video games all day.
Yeah.
Like they actually need to have a plan to make some money, but they're out of my house at 18. That's like I'm prepping you for 18, and then you're out. You can come back on vacation, like come back during Christmas break or whatever, but you got to go stand on your own. Like, what are you going to do? And so I would say that's the biggest thing that I can say is find, like, be really intentional probably about especially, so I have 3 boys, so I think about like young men a lot. It's like, who are the other 5 men that are around them the most? Because at school, my kids are not homeschooled. They go to public school. There's 98% women that are teaching them at that school. It's just, I think there's 1 male teacher in my kids' school here in Williamson County, Tennessee. And so it's me, and who are the other 4? And it's probably their friends' dads. And so now my kids are not sleeping over. There was a friend down the road who, I mean, they had a big problem. There was a bunch of cops that showed up. And he's friends with the kid. And then, the spouse, they're breaking up and they're moving out. And it's all this big drama. I'm like, dude, he's like, can I sleep over? I'm like, you cannot sleep over there. No, I never let him sleep over the house. Like, I could tell something. Like,
yeah. Did you let the other kid like sleep over at
for
yours?
Sure.
Okay.
For sure. The other kid wants to sleep in my house. That's totally fine. Like, I will be the role model for and he did. He came over a lot because his parents weren't around. Didn't, his dad was gone. It's just.
That's so true. My son's 12, and I tell him all the time, like, it's really important who your friends are, because you are essentially going to be the average of the 5 people or 4 people. You make the 5th. You're going to be the average of that group. And so if your friends are all a bunch of bums and losers, you're going to inevitably be the 5th. And he turned 12 in September. And I also told him, I'm like, look, buddy, you've got 6 years until the government considers you an adult. So like, shit's getting real. It's time to really start thinking about, like, what are you doing with your life? What skills do you have at this point and what skills, more importantly, do you not have at this point at 12 years old that you're going to need to have when you turn 18 and are a grown up? Like, this is just the way it is. And as a
couple things to think about there, which is interesting, is we think of 6 years, right? And it seems like a short time to us. But your 12-year-old it's probably about 50% of the time that he remembers. So to us, it's 6 years. To him, it's twice as long as as a third of his life extra. Plus, or thought another way, it's half of the life that he actually remembers from, because we're probably 5 or 6 from an early memory, right? So it's like, it's a long period of time for them. So be careful.
I will
when
say,
we try to,
my kid, he is an old soul. He is
good.
He is
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he is incredibly, much more so than my daughter. But Troy, when I said that, I could see like his eyes kind of got like real big, and he was just kind of like, that's not really a lot of time. I'm like, it's not a lot of time. Like,
Yeah.
so
Way less time for us than it is for them. But secondly,
true.
the other piece
Yeah.
that I heard that I think is interesting is, and I believe, look, I'm bringing this up because I'm coaching myself during this, like same thing. Cause I think the same thing is when I think about, like, if I tell my kid, be careful who you hang out with, don't hang out with that kid, it makes him want to hang out with that kid more, I find. So what I have to try to do is I have to try to force him into new circles.
Yeah.
And in a way where he doesn't feel forced into the new circle. Yep. So for anybody that's listening, one thing that I do a lot is I'm trying to go find places where we have that other parents bring their kids that are probably more aligned with some of the goals and some of the things that I want my son to be doing. So like Wednesday night is youth group. Now that my son's in 6th grade, we go to church on Wednesday night, and he goes, and I know the parents that are there. I know the people that are running that. I know the pastors. I know the kids, and the people that take their kids there on Wednesday night, and the kids that want to show up there. I'm like, I know that they're going to screw around. They're going to mess around. There's still some of that, like being kids, but the likelihood that those kids are going to turn out better is higher than other places that I could drop him. And then the next one is, for me, is Boy Scouts. When I look at Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, so it's changed a bit, but like I was an Eagle Scout, and it was like the nerdiest thing on the planet to go.
My dad was an Eagle Scout though too.
When I look at all the kids that came out of there, like super successful right now, like they are really, really, really successful, and they turned out great. But like at the time, like I was an athlete and like I guess semi-popular in high school, and oh my gosh, it took everything that I could to go over there and hang out with some of the kids, because they were interested in different things than me.
Yeah.
But super successful on the back. And so now, like, I got a couple non-negotiables for my kids. It's like sports. 3 nights a week, we're going to go do something. So you're not just going to sit at home and play on your iPad. No iPads during the week, things like that. But a sport, scouts, and church. And those are the 3 things that we're going to do. And so if you drop one, we're just going to go heavier in the other. So
yeah,
thinking about the sports too. Sports is a good place to get around people. You got, building a team sport for sure. I love that. Individual sports really challenging for them too. I was a wrestler for a long time. So anyway, there's a couple things that popped into my head.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, Troy just got his black belt, so he's now he's now a black belt in Taekwondo, and I agree with you, because the quality of the kids that are dedicated to Taekwondo and who he surrounds himself at Taekwondo far exceeds the quality of kids at his school. I don't mean to like sound hateful or anything, but that's just facts. I mean, just like you said, like the quality of kids at church and whatnot, like it's going to be a higher level quality. So, tomorrow we're doing a Top Golf outing with all the fellow black belts, and I love all the parents.
That's
we all
cool.
we all get along really well, and that's really become his core group is those that he practices martial arts with, and I really couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, school's like glorified daycare. We're dropping our kids off, so he's going to be there, right?
Exactly.
And so, like, yeah, I love because the sports take dedication from the parent too. A lot of
you're telling me, yeah. I mean, especially now that he is a black belt and is, we've revved up how much he competes, and he may make a bid for nationals this coming year, and it's
that takes massive discipline, learning discipline, leadership. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, well, Bill, you've given us so much of your time. We are so thankful that you were able to jump on and chat, and love talking with you, man. I mean, just as a summary, like going over topics of legacy, power of association, mindset shifts, and like applicable real estate stuff, like how to actually get money. One of the biggest problems that people have, or limiting beliefs I think they have in real estate. So just so much value, man. Just wanted to thank you for coming on. And guys, if you got value from this and want more, make sure you follow Bill Allen, check out the 7-Figure Flipping podcast, and see what he's building with 7-Figure Flipping.
Yeah, Bill, thanks so much for coming on and sharing all of the real stuff. I mean, this was just a powerful, powerful episode. So really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I had fun.
Absolutely. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with REsimpli. If you enjoyed this episode, share the show with somebody who you think needs this. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for future episodes wherever you're listening to this.
Until next time, guys, keep it real.
Thanks.